Your life may suck, but that means it can only get better. And I know that's a crazy way to start a word of encouragement, but it's the truth. If you are at your wits' end, you're at a pit, you just feel like there's nothing else for you and you don't know how to maneuver and get out of it, the bright side to it is that the only way is up. There's no other way but up. Doesn't matter what happens, the next move, it's going to be obviously something better. And this happened to me in my own life, but I'm just going to speak from a more broad perspective of different stories and things that I've seen. But a lot of times everything will fall apart so that you can see things for what it truly is. And I remember I was having this conversation with someone who used to be so near and dear to me. And I was telling this person, I was saying, the reason why you did not succeed during this time frame is because of the people you had around you. And God will not bless you when there's people around you who don't deserve to receive a piece of that blessing. So fast forward to when I'm living my own life, and I was thinking about that same conversation. And I was like, wow, I didn't really start to see slivers of success in any area of my life until everything was falling apart and people were falling out, and all of the people who did not deserve to be a part of the blessings that I was going to receive were no longer there. And it hurt. It really hurt because it's so crazy because the people you call family, the people you call friends, the people you will look and see as someone who should be in your life forever really don't deserve any part of it. And it's like it hits more home, especially when it is family members and people who are really close to you. But don't be naive in the thought that regardless of someone's title to you, it doesn't mean that you should not have discernment towards them. Like, a lot of people will excuse the mistreatment they receive from family members and say, oh, well, that's still my mom, or that's still my dad, or that's still my brother, or whatever. And it's like, yeah, the same way you're saying, well, that's still this person and I should have them around. Were they ever saying in their mind when they were mistreating you, well, that's still my daughter, or that's still my best friend, or that's still my cousin, or that's still my niece? Like, you're having so much of a way of rationalizing why you should accept being mistreated, and these people are not rationalizing why they shouldn't mistreat you. You know, a lot of times people's downfall is, I will say this, sometimes people's downfall is self-sabotage, and that can attribute to them being in a state of helplessness and hopelessness. Yes. And I will talk about that later on in this video. But sometimes people's downfall is the people around them. You might think this person, and I'm being so, I say this with love, but we have to just call a spade what a spade. We have to call a spade a spade. It doesn't matter if that person is your mom, your dad, your husband, or your ex-husband, or your best friend, or your ex-best friend, or your cousin, or someone you cut off. You got to realize and see people for who they are to you. Don't let a title blind you into accepting what you don't need to accept. I've had people who were closest to me betray me, who lied about me, who lied to me, who backstabbed me. People who, because of their title, you would never think to question them. And it put me in so many crappy situations. And oh my gosh, when I was finally realizing this, I was so heartbroken for so long. I'm talking about for so long. Because I couldn't understand, well, this person's my family member, or this person's been around me for this long, or this person knows me. How could they do this? How could they do that? Baby, let me tell you something. You have a gift on you, whatever it may be. And although you may not see it or recognize it, other people can. And that's where the betrayal and hate and envy will come in. I've had people known I was supposed to receive something before I did. And this was when I was younger and less aware, and I had less discernment. I allowed them to essentially talk me out of something that I should have had for myself. I'm not the only one that's ever experienced that. I know I'm not. You're on this channel because this message is for you. You've experienced that too at some point. We have to be aware of who people are in our life. And sometimes the delay is because we are not aware of them. You could, I used to say this, and this was, oh my gosh. I used to say, oh, when I finally achieve this goal, I'm going to help out this person in this way. Whole time this person was lying about me behind my back, talking about me, just doing everything under the sun to try to break me. And this whole time I'm thinking we're cool and how I'm going to, once I get to a certain level of success with something I'm working on, I'm going to help them in this area. And they didn't mean me no well. You know how hurtful that is? And it's like, I didn't realize all of this until I was alone. Like, I was going through such a difficult time in my life, and I couldn't even call the people I was supposed to be the closest to. And when I did, they didn't pick up, or they didn't call me back, or it was, oh, well, I'm sorry. I had this going on. I had this going on. And while I understand that, but every time you call me, I answer. I drop everything, come running to you. And I'm not calling you for nothing else than, can you just send me a prayer? And all of a sudden you're busy. And it wasn't until this hurt so bad realizing this, because like I said, it was some family members who were supposed to be really close to me, and even some friends and people I met along the way in life that were supposed to be really close to me. It hurt when I realized the reason why I didn't have what I was supposed to when I was engaged and involved with these people was because God heard the conversations that I didn't hear. And I think of this scripture, God will prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies. Yes, but that's not for the enemy to sit at your table and eat off of you. He wants to prepare that table in the presence of your enemies, but he doesn't want them to eat off of you. There's a difference. There's a difference to that. If you got someone around you that's not supposed to be around you, whether you know it or you're unaware of it, every blessing you're supposed to have will be blocked until you let that go. Everything. It will literally be almost like a dam holding the water, just holding your blessing, just holding it back. Because, and this is another thing, right? When you got people around you who are secretly jealous of you and they're working against you and plotting behind the scenes, if you were to receive any part of your blessing beforehand while they were involved in your life, they would destroy it for you. And there's some people who they've done things to me, and it's crazy because although they were working against me, it still worked out for my betterment. It still worked out for my favor. However, just to think that there was someone around me who tried their hardest to take a blessing that I had, and because they believe that they've done that, they will feel happy and as if they've achieved something, as if it's a victory. There's some sick, evil, twisted people. There really are. So back to early in this video, I was talking about sometimes the delay, the stagnancy, and being at a point of hopelessness and despair can be self-sabotage too. I'll tell you, when I was progressing, I put myself in a situation where I was making really, really good money. And this was long before I really became established. So at that point in time, it was really good money. Now it's just like I would laugh at it. But anyways, I self-sabotaged my way out of that situation. And because of that, it put me in a crisis. It put me in financial crisis. It put me in housing crisis. It put so much stress and weight on me. And although I talk about how not having the right people around you can delay and make you stagnant, having self-sabotaging, I guess, decision making can do that as well. I know this is going to sound crazy, but you have to hear me out. If you are someone who was raised in an environment where you had to fight and work hard for everything that you had, and you were essentially breadcrumbed, and you were just raised up in an environment of lack and having less than. When you are no longer there, if you don't change that relationship with the younger self of you, or the way that you were brought up and raised, you will put yourself right back into the situations of having lack and less than. If you were raised in an environment where, like I said, the struggle was glorified. I have a problem with this when it comes to Christians, and it's the mindset of, oh, well, you have to suffer. You have to suffer. Listen, I believe things are seasonal, and there may be a season of suffering. However, I do not agree. I do not come into alignment. I do not declare that over my life, that it's going to be a years long thing. I don't agree with that. And I find this a lot, especially in the Christian community, and even the Black Christian community, where it's like, oh, I've been suffering for 10 years. I've been suffering for 5 years. It's like, no. You're not going to convince me that that's what God calls for your life. All right. I know the story of Job. And like I said, I know there's seasons of things, but it's not a years long thing, and it's not to be glorified. But anyways, my whole point in that is, if you were raised in that environment where you've seen the struggle, and it's been, you've seen your grandma, your auntie, your sisters, your cousins struggle for decades and decades, and they're just like kind of patting themselves on the back for being able to struggle that long, that is going to shape you, whether you know it or you're not aware of it. It is going to shape you. And if you don't break out of that, regardless of the position you put yourself in financially, you will always find yourself back in a state of struggle and having less than, because of that whole struggle mindset. And that's where the self-sabotaging comes in. Because like I said, I willingly put myself back into a situation of struggle when I had gotten out of it. And it was because I didn't fix the ideologies and the mindset that I was raised with of, oh, you got to struggle for decades and decades to finally be worthy of having a good life. Like, you know how crazy that sounds? It sounds so crazy, like saying it out loud. Like, people really believe that. Like, you have to struggle for decades and decades and decades, and just to be able to have a good little piece of life at the end of it. That makes no sense to me. It's almost like, I don't know who I was talking to about this, but I was saying that, you got to be careful when you're dating a man who was raised by a struggling single mother, because when he sees you at peace and you living life and you having a good quality life, he's going to hate. And if, depending on the type of man he is, more likely than not, though, if he saw his mom struggle and be miserable, and he sees you not doing that, he's going to do everything in his power to put you in the position that his mom was in. That's the truth. Maybe this might need to be a topic for another video, but you got to be careful of that. You got to be careful of that. And if you know of a woman who's, might be your age, might be a little older, whatever the case may be, but she's been struggling and stressed all her life, and then you come along and you live in life, and you're vibrant, you're happy, you're youthful, you're beautiful, you're taking care of yourself, that is going to disrupt that woman. So you got to be careful about that. You have to be very careful about that. I was in a situation like that. I was dating a man who, his mom was a struggling single mom. And wouldn't you know, every time I went to go take care of myself or pay for myself, it was always a backhanded slick comment. And it's like, yo, just because your mama was struggling all her life don't mean I got to struggle for any part of mine. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. And another part to this, right? Because this is all a word of encouragement. If you are long story short, if you are in a crappy place in your life, the only way is up. That's the first things. The second thing to that is, once you finally get out of that struggle and lack and season of your life, you need to be very cautious about the people you share your peace with. You hear me? You need to be very cautious about the people you share your peace with. Because there are some people who like to see you struggle. It gets them it just gets them in a frenzy. It makes them happy. So once you finally get out of the season of lack and struggle, you have to be very cautious about who you share your peace with. And I'm not telling you to hide your success. I'm not telling you to hide your blessing. All I'm saying is you need to hide the door that allows them access to your success and your blessing. Diamonds, I love you and I really appreciate you for staying and watching the end of this video. Comment down below what was your favorite part of this video. Also, I have a special sale going on. Right now, you can get all of the ebooks. You can get the Debt Plus Discipline Equals Dollars ebook that helps you with your finances. You can get the 21-day transformation guide that helps you with your mindset. You can get the Diamond Detail Style guide that helps you with your aesthetic. Also, you can get the Center Star ebook that helps you with starting a YouTube channel, and the Business Babe ebook that helps you with launching your business. Right now, all 5 of these ebooks are on sale. You can just go ahead and add them into your cart. The coupon is already applied at checkout. You will get all 5 books at a discount. You get $15 off all 5. So go ahead and add that into your cart. Also, I have my affirmation guides. If you need to help change your inner voice and inner dialogue, these are all there available for you, as well as the 3-day glow up fast guide. Right now it's on sale. So if you diamonds just need some help, some direction, and some guidance, this one is for you. And I once again want to drive this point home. If you have a crappy life, it can only get better. I love you, diamonds. Make sure you go ahead and shop the website and get your collection today so you can transform your life as well. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.